Hello and welcome everyone to the next Foreman community demo. Your host Gilvin here, and we've got another pretty interesting show today. It's going to be heavy on the events stuff today, but we've got some code content as well, plenty to talk about. So we'll get straight into it, I think, and we'll kick off with the usual things that I like to talk about. So we're going to do a little bit of statistics. So and I'm back again. I have no idea what just happened to my internet connection. Very unusual. I would just like a confirmation. Am I back, guys?
Yeah.
Good, good. And I'm also got my camera on. Fantastic. Hi, guys. Do you like my dinosaurs? I guess you guys probably haven't seen that before. So, it looks like it's going to be a day of fun, a day of lots of lovely network errors. Hopefully that won't happen again. So, as you probably know, RC3, 112 RC3 is out, and it seems like we've had a good take-up in the testing. We've had Okay, I have no idea what is going on with my internet, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to move straight on to Ori, who is going to tell us a bit about what's been happening at Red Hat Summit, and I'm going to go and poke some bits and pieces on my router and see if I can make it work properly. So hopefully the YouTube broadcast is still continuing for everyone, and we will progress with everyone else's content, and I will come back in at the end if I've managed to stabilize everything. So Ori, do you want to have a chat about how you found Summit, how you found the community side of things?
Hey, well, Summit this year had a great place for the Community Central. I think last year was the first year that had Community Central with booths that were all community projects. And last year it was a little further away from the rest of the booths and hard to find. This year we were right at the door, close to all the other booths, and we had a lot of traffic. Unfortunately, I don't have pictures of all the people we got. I do have some pictures of the booth, so I'll share that. So this is how our booth looked. This is before they connected a monitor. So we also had a monitor that showed video the whole time, and we had a live demo there too. We got a lot of people there who wanted to see the videos, wanted our new T-shirt. I have a picture of that too. So this is the new T-shirt. So a lot of people wanted the T-shirt. A lot of people wanted to talk to us. We got a few users that were still using a 1.7 or 1.8 and upgrading, but we got quite a few that had latest version who were on 1.11 and expecting 1.12 very much. We also got a lot of questions about what we're using beside Puppet. Apparently not everyone knows our plugins. So we did show, or at least talk about the plugins for Chef, Salt, and Ansible. Ansible got a lot of questions too because their booth was also very close to ours. So we got questions about that, and people want to see that plugin continue to evolve.
Cool, that's really interesting. Just to let you know, there's some nasty background interference on your microphone. It's quite scratchy. Just getting a few comments about that, but I guess there's probably not a lot we can do about it. Cool. So it was pretty busy. Was there a particular tool that was coming up apart from Puppet? Was it just more general kind of what's the plugin kind of situation?
So we got a lot of general questions. We got some people who wanted to know about specifics that they are using, but a lot of people wanted to come see what's new and talk to us about what they're using, how their setup works right now, how they can improve stuff. Some people that wanted to know the connection to the community or how our products connect to the community, and we're really glad to see us there.
Very cool, very cool. And was certainly in previous conferences, I've often felt the mix was quite even between people who knew us and people who had never heard of us. How did you feel about that mix? Was it not 50-50 this time?
So I talked to a lot of people who actually did know us. The people who came around to the booth who saw all our colors were probably 50-50, but most of the people that stayed to talk were people who knew us. We got a few people who wanted to know us that we were brand new for them, but a lot of people actually already knew us.
Cool, cool. And I presume the new T-shirts went down pretty well.
Yeah, we actually are out of a few sizes already, but the biggest sizes.
Very impressive and very cool as well. I'm glad to see they're popular. I think our designers did a good job with that.
Yeah, we met one of the designers there too. She came over to see how everything came out.
Was that Jessica?
I'm not sure.
Okay, fair enough. It was a lady called Jessica Cox who did our design for us. But there were obviously a lot of people involved with Community Central. So yeah, I don't know who's who for everybody else. Cool. Well, I'm glad that it was generally a success and that the booth was busy. I wish I could have been there, but sadly couldn't make it. So thanks very much for that update, Ori. Have you got any feedback you'd like to pass on sort of from other community members, topics we need to be looking at? What are the future plans for everybody else?
I don't have a list of that. I didn't spend the whole time on the community booth. We had Tomasz there that spent every minute there. We had people coming even during breaks when they were not supposed to be in the community area that came over to ask questions, so I'm sure he can answer that much better.
I'm sure. Sadly, I couldn't get him to come on the demo. He's feeling a bit camera shy today.
Well, he just came back, so he might be a little jet lagged.
It's his first day back from that, yeah, absolutely. So we'll be nice to him. It's fine. But yeah, I mean, thanks to everyone who was involved in the community booth because it sounds like it was quite a success. So I'm very pleased with that. All right, I haven't had any drops in the last few minutes, so I will try and rattle through my statistics very quickly before it goes again. It looks like it might be the screen sharing that's causing a problem, so I'm going to try not to do that until I have to. So let me just talk you through the statistics rather than show them because they're not that interesting, right? I do this every month. So it does seem like we've had about 500 people testing the release candidates 112, and that's a huge thank you to the community for that, because the more people that test it, the more stable these initial releases are, and we have a good reputation there, so it's something I'm keen to maintain. So again, thank you to everyone for that, and it's looking pretty good. I saw the release schedule was updated a few days ago. It looks like next week is going to be the final release, but as ever, this is not a promise, merely a guideline. Other than that, we see standard sort of numbers for 111 in the couple of thousands over the last few weeks, so pretty standard stuff. Across the sort of bugs and PRs section, we're seeing pretty standard stats here. It's everything's down a little bit, so we've got about 80 open PRs, about 280 closed PRs. I'm going to have to go and check the metrics on this one because it seems like every demo there's vastly more closed PRs than open PRs, and that's clearly not sustainable. Sooner or later you have to run out of PRs, right? So I need to go back and check how that metric's actually being calculated. But nonetheless, in terms of the change month on month, it's a little bit down, and likewise for Redmine across the board, just very slightly down, both with open and closed bugs. So it's something like 80 open bugs, 110 closed bugs, and so 20-ish feature requests open and closed. So plenty of activity, a little bit quieter, but that's probably just because we've been busy with RCs where you start really digging into some of these bugs. In terms of community metrics, as you know, I've been starting to look at the mailing lists, and those are broadly consistent as well, still sitting at around 20-ish% unanswered posts and about 40+% user support. So I'm pretty happy with that. So that's I will try and screen share actually. Yeah, Daniel, I'm deliberately not showing them because it looks like the screen sharing is crashing the Hangout for me because every time I did it, it dropped. I am now going to screen share because I do have one thing I'd like to show, a couple of things I'd like to show, so hopefully we'll get away with it. So let's do that now. and we'll see if it will work. So this is my initial start on a dashboard for the metrics. This is internal so far. I will eventually publish it. I will let the community have a look at this once I'm happy with it. But I thought I'd give you guys a quick look. This is a very simple set of metrics. This doesn't show some of the more complex stuff I can start pulling out once I've got a bit more time to look at it. But for now, we can see some very basic tracking. So you can see there's a general increase in GitHub statistics. Although I don't know what happened here. Apparently a whole bunch of people decided they didn't like us. Analytics is always broadly consistent. You get lots of page views during the week and you get less page views at the weekend. That's unsurprising. Community and Google Plus is not that interesting, right? It's just something I can track. IRC data I pull out of my IRC logs, and this is how many people were active in the last 30 days. So again, this seems to be slightly cyclical, and I would guess that tracks week versus weekend. Mailing list stats, I have no idea what happened here. This is the number of active email addresses in the last 6 months on that date. And you can see it jumped. It just took a massive jump on both mailing lists over the last week. And I have no idea why. So that was quite interesting. And then members again, threads again. Bugs from Redmine, this is all broadly what you'd expect. So a big jump in the installer bugs. I'm guessing that's from the release candidates. And Twitter as well, which is just generally increasing. So these are not very interesting graphs, but I just wanted to give you guys a look at where I'm going. I want to produce nice graphs. I want to produce tools that we can play with and see how the community is doing without you necessarily having to wait for me to come and tell you. So, you know, that's all it's really about. So that's enough boring statistics. Let's talk about upcoming events, which is far more interesting, I think. So I've already mentioned 112 should be out next week, but more excitingly, it's our birthday. If you haven't heard already from one of the other data sources, next week will be Foreman's 7th birthday. So this is a big milestone. But in addition, we've also got the 112 release in the same week. So unsurprisingly, I would like to make a big noise about that. Because not only do we have a birthday, not only do we have a release, but we also have the Puppet 4 support, which people have been waiting for a long time. So I have tried to organize a series of events around the world. We have 5 so far, so I will be speaking in Edinburgh. The wonderful guys led by Inuits over in Antwerp in Belgium, they are organizing a meetup as part of the Puppet Belgium group, so they're doing a birthday party. Netways in Nuremberg are organizing a half-day conference, so we'll have some hands-on time and some talks. I'm hoping to make it there myself, which would be good. There's going to be a meetup in Tel Aviv, and there's going to be a meetup in Washington, D.C. So if any of these events are of interest to you, do check them out on the website. You can find all the details of what's going on there. If you would like to organize a birthday party of your own sometime in the next month, do get in touch with me. I'm very happy to help you out. We would like to make this a really notable birthday and use it to get a lot of promotion done and to celebrate all the work that the community has done, because it's no secret that we couldn't do this without you guys, right? So let's have a big party. Let's celebrate that. You can find links to that from the very front page of the website, where you will find a nice big link here at the bottom. So that's events. We've heard about Summit. We've heard about the birthday. I don't have a lot else to say, I don't think. So let's move on to our code-based discussions for the day. So I'm going to start with our newest contributor to core, and that's Timo Goebel. Have I pronounced that right?
Okay, I think Greg just left us there, but I think I'll just start without an introduction.
Okay. It is definitely screen sharing that is breaking my video hangouts. I have no idea what's going on there. Okay, so I don't know where I cut out, but I was just introducing you, Timo. So fire away, right?
All right. I think I'll have 2 slots today and 2 things that I'd like to show. The first thing is the plugin for Foreman that's called Expire Hosts, and the main idea is that you usually have some servers going on that that have an expiration date. For example, you have, for example, some test instances, or you have host that you want to delete at a specific date. And yeah, I think I'll just share my screen and we can have a look.
We can hope it's only me that has problems with screen sharing.
Okay. Okay, hope that everyone is seeing my screen now.
Probably want to zoom in a touch if you can get away with it. Just a little bit of zoom would make that. For example, the title will be fine, but yeah, that warning is readable now. Cool.
Okay, great. But it doesn't look good
no,
now.
it looks terrible, I know. Maybe you can get away with 1 or 2 more zoom outs, yeah.
Okay.
Sadly, it's all we can do with YouTube.
Okay. Actually, what I wanted to start to show is that when you create a new host, let's do this. It's quite slow. Okay. Let me just prepare these two. Okay. So when you have a host, I already created that one. I think I hope it'll load soon. And when you in the settings of the host, when you edit this, you can actually set a date, and on that specific date, the host is going to expire, and the UI shows a nice warning here telling you, oh, this host has expired about 1 month ago, and it needs to be deleted manually. The plugin also ships with a cron job that actually runs every night, and so you can tell the plugin to delete the hosts every night. So you don't have to do it manually. You can, though, deletion is always a scary thing. So if you don't want to do it automatically, you can still do it manually. The plugin hooks into the host status API. So when a host is expired, the status of the host is going to show as an error. And what actually happens when the host expires is that it will be shut down. And in the settings, you can define how much days you want to keep it. And if nobody complains, oh, my application is gone. What did you do, guys? Then you can simply, then the host will be deleted after this time of grace period. So in the settings, you can say, oh, I want to keep the host for 3 days and then delete it after shutdown. Yeah, you can make the expiry date field mandatory if you want to, and the plugin sends out notifications, for example, 7 days before the host expires and a day before the host expires. The notifications are actually sent to an admin and to the host owner, which can be a host group. Okay, so here's a host that will expire soon, and it shows a warning, and if the host is not expired, it will just show nothing.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
What I can show, the interface where you can add the date is actually at the additional info tab on a host, where you have a nice little date picker. And what you can also do is, if you have your host screen, is that there's a bulk action where you can tick all the hosts and change the expiration date. For example, if you have, I don't know, a cluster of 5 or 10 hosts, then you can change the date at once. So yeah, select action, change expiration. And you have that date picker as well.
Cool.
Yeah, that will be all from my part.
Very cool stuff. I really like that. I have to admit I had not looked at that before. I knew of the plugin and what it did, but I've never sat down and actually played with it. And that is very nicely integrated, actually. So I'm really happy to see that promoted on a demo, because I think that's something that I've heard people asking about, and I've kind of pointed them in the direction of the plugin. But it's nice to know a little bit more about it, and hopefully that will come in useful to other people. It's certainly something you see on other platforms, right?
Yeah, I mean the plugin was there before, but it didn't work with recent Foreman versions.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of took it and improved the integration a little. I think it's still not perfect. I don't know, tons of ideas what could be added, but I think the main functionality is there now, and
Mm-hmm.
you can improve it.
So if people have used an older version, what new things did you add?
Well, the bulk action and the host status integration.
Well, yeah,
And
obviously that was only in 1.10, right? So yeah.
yeah.
Cool. Okay, well that's really awesome stuff, and I look forward to seeing where else that goes. That'll be really interesting to follow, because I think I mean I was literally about to ask a bunch of questions and you answered all of them right away. I was like, can you send an email? Yes, it sends an email. You know, all that kind of thing. So I don't see any questions coming in from the community on that one. So so we'll move on, I guess. But so you have another slot, right? So we're going to talk about the IPv6 changes.
Yeah, that's actually what took the most time to do at the company I work for. We actually want to play with IPv6, so we don't use it in production right now, but I think it's been there for ages, and we wanted to, I don't know, learn stuff about that. So actually the Windows guys who don't use Foreman, they actually didn't have any problem to provision hosts with IPv6, and I had to tell my colleagues, okay guys, we can't do it, Foreman doesn't support it. So it was, I don't know, my main motivation to add the functionality to Foreman core. In 1.12 there are the first few pieces that changed some internals, and what hasn't been merged yet, but what I'm currently working on is the user interface that finally makes all that stuff visible. What still isn't supported yet is the Dhcpv6 orchestration. So you can't really provision a host with IPv6 only, but you can provision it as usual via IPv4 and then add some IPv6 addresses.
Yeah, so you could use the classic separate provisioning network and get it up and running, and then move it onto an IPv6 production network.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any? I guess if you haven't finished the UI yet, there's not much to show, right? But
well, the UI actually works, so there's actually something to show. It's just not merged into core.
Go on, show us then. I know we normally stick to merged things in the demo, but I think this is interesting. Certainly, while that's loading, I will say that IPv6 is one of the things that consistently comes up when I speak to people at conferences and things. They want to know when we're going to do it. So I think let's have a look at it, shall we? I think it'll be interesting to people.
Okay, and I'll be really happy to hear some input. So can hurt to present it right now. Okay, first thing that I want to show is adding a new subnet. Let's call it TFM demo. And now you can choose the protocol of a subnet. IPv4 was there, IPv6 is there now. You can then add a network address. And yeah, that one that's commonly used. And with IPv6, you usually don't use the subnet mask, so you use a network prefix. Type that here. Enter the gateway address, DNS servers and stuff as usual, and choose the IPAM. So what's new is UI64 that actually uses the MAC address of a host to calculate the IPv4 address. It's the same technique used in Slack, but well, Foreman does all the IP address calculation for you, so Foreman can actually provision DNS entries and stuff, which it could not do if you would use Slack.
Right, yeah, because it won't handle that. Cool.
Yeah. Also, internal DB is supported. Yeah. I think the rest is probably known already. Parameters, organizations. I think that's nothing new. What I also added for IPv4 is that you can enter the prefix here as well. So, for example, if you say, oh, I have a 24 prefix, and I think that's currently broken, but it should actually update the network mask.
Right. So I was going to say, does that make the network mask optional? But yeah, fair enough.
Okay. Yeah, when you have a host, that's a great one. Oh, actually, I have that open. We can use that one. And you move to the interfaces tab. You can now choose an IPv6 subnet. So let's choose a domain first. Takes some time to load because of the Ajax call, but there it is. So then you can choose the IPv6 subnet, which is obviously a new setting, and an IPv6 address is suggested. You can click Suggest New. New one is suggested, and the link is actually hidden if the subnet does not support IP auto-suggestion. So you did see that here, that the link just appeared. Okay. Yeah, I need some MAC address. I think we can save that one now.
You've only got 5 sections in your MAC address as well.
Let's see, okay. Does the reload now? Yeah, added a little example here, and I think you can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try this again. Okay, what actually happens is that libvirt doesn't support that you set both an IPv4 and an IPv6 network. So that's why provisioning fails. If you would use ICD, HCPD, and stuff like that, you wouldn't get this error. Okay. I'd have to investigate why my development environment is broken, but anyhow, I think it's clear what happens the DNS is provisioned, the DHCP is provisioned.
Very cool. So it'll get there eventually. So one of the classic things about IPv6 is the sort of the move towards interfaces having multiple addresses sort of natively, which IPv4 kind of does with aliases, and they obviously show up as separate interfaces, which was always fine. Now, when we move to the IPv6 world, where you have multiple interfaces, multiple addresses for one interface, is that something that's for future work?
Yeah, definitely. I think that would need even more changes to core to support that. I think we'd have to create some IP address model, which we could then attach to the interfaces. Yeah,
that's what I thought, but I figured that we should clarify that for the people watching, because yeah, it seems like that would be a big change and a long way to get to. So for now, it's one IP address per interface. In terms of importing interfaces, so obviously for IPv4 we can import that from the Puppet facts. Does that work? Is it something for later?
That should actually work right now.
Interesting. And if you've got more than one address on your interface, is it just going to pick the first one basically?
Yeah, the one that Puppet actually provides via the fact.
Right. Okay. So we're just going to take the in quotes main address. Cool. Well, that's pretty awesome. I think that's obviously like 90% of the functionality, right? The rest is just nice to have. So.
Yeah, I think actually provisioning via IPv6 only is really interesting. But that needs EFI support. So I think Lucas is working on that right now. So when we add that, we can actually move on there.
Right. Exactly. I was about to say that's exactly what Lukash is working on. Yeah, and I know there's. I was reading his RFC about that a little while ago. So yeah, I think there's definitely movement in that area. That'll be interesting to see how that all comes together. But definitely talk to him to see where that's up to. Cool. Anything else you want to add to that?
Well, I don't have anything more to show.
Brilliant. I think you've done a pretty awesome job already. Okay. Well, hang around. I'll see if any questions come up. I'm not seeing anything at the moment. Just going to have a quick look on Twitter, but I don't see anything just now. So in the meantime, we'll move on. We're going to talk to Daniel. I normally put slides up, but I'm gonna not put slides up because it keeps crashing things. So I'm going to switch over to Daniel, who is going to tell us about his latest plugin. I think actually you had a couple of things you wanted to show, right, Daniel?
Right. Today I basically have Azure support.
Tunnel of Doom. There we go.
Okay, so yeah, we'll talk about these two plugins today, Ansible and Azure. So let's start with the second one, Azure, because I think it was released right after the last community demo. Okay, so what the Azure plugin does is it gives you, by the way, if you want to find it, if you want to install it, if you're using Azure, just go to the foreman.org/plugins and you'll find it there. What the Azure plugin does is to provide a compute resource that allows you to provision hosts in Azure and set a few options on these hosts. All right. It's really easy to use. It's really easy to install. It's basically the same as any other plugin. I'll show you in a bit. I think the only relatively complicated part about it is that you have to generate a PEM file, a certificate that you have to upload to Azure. So just go to the manual, which at the moment is the repository README. Click on this link, and it will lead you to here. Now you just scroll down here to settings, and you upload the certificate that you created for Foreman, and that's it. Okay, so after that, when you're actually on Foreman, you just go to Infrastructure, Compute Resources, and click on New Compute Resource. Or actually, let's edit this one that already exists. And you'll be prompted with just two things: the subscription ID, which you can find in the Azure web UI. It's here. It should be next. A new one would be created for every certificate that you upload, and the path to the certificate, which needs to be, of course, a path that the Foreman user can read. After that, just click on Test Connection, and if you click on New Host, you should be able to deploy on Azure. It doesn't have any difference from deploying on other systems. The only thing is you have these options in the virtual machine. One is the Azure location, which it's dependent on the image, because not all operating systems images in Azure are available in all locations. So in this case, we have the CentOS image here. All right. Now, because I changed it, it's loading the list of locations that have that image. So it's all of these. And the storage account, in case you want to associate that host with a different storage, and the role size, which it just brings the names from Azure. I couldn't find the description. If someone can contribute to the plugin with a way of linking these role sizes with the description, that would be great. And also the cloud service name, which is basically a way of how can you say, like a way of grouping your hosts, your VMs in Azure. In this case, I don't have any, so if I just create this host, which has the name test host, cloud service name with the name test host will be created. And that's really all there is to it. Again, you go to the foreman.org plugins, Azure, and you can install it. It's available for 110 and 111, and if you're trying the 112 RC, it's also available for you. Okay, so is Greg around? Yes, right. Any questions about this?
Yeah, I'm still here. As long as I don't screen share, it seems to be surviving. No, I don't see anything just now, so do carry on.
All right. So second plugin that I'm going to talk about is Ansible. Oops. Okay, so Ansible hasn't had any updates in some time. It was stuck on version 0.3. And I've been working on, some on and off last week on adding Ansible roles support to Foreman. I was about to merge it, but I want to see if someone can try it first. Anyway, what an Ansible role is, it's basically a collection of playbooks. Let me open a console and show you there. Okay, can you see the console now?
No, we've still got your web browser.
No. Oh, right, because I'm just sharing the web browser. Sorry. All right, so I'll show you how a role looks like. But basically, it's a collection of playbooks that give like some meaning to a host or whatever your provision is. So roles by default are stored in etc Ansible roles. It's not a concept that I invented or anything like that. It's a Ansible concept. And let's see, for instance, the Redmine role. It contains usually three things: tasks, templates, and handlers. Tasks is basically it's basically the playbook.
Careful with your typing. You just muted yourself at the same time because Google obviously mutes while you're typing.
Oh, sorry.
So we missed the middle of that sentence. That's all.
Am I back? Yeah.
You're back now. Yeah, absolutely. So you were just saying about the roles.
Okay, I was just saying that on the tasks directory, you'll find what we normally call a playbook. You can have one playbook or multiple playbooks, and usually roles they come with templates. So in this case, we can have I can show you that these templates are like files that will be deployed through these playbooks. Anyhow, so this is stored.
You just went again.
Oh my God, sorry.
It's Google, not you, but yeah, watch out for it.
All right, so how is this relevant to Foreman Ansible? Well, what we did last week was basically a way to apply these roles to your hosts. So when you create a host, the Foreman server will read that directory and will see, okay, I have these roles available. So you can select them. I'm not going to create this host because it's on Azure, and I have to pay for it.
You're still sharing your shell, not the web browser.
Oh, sorry. Okay, that should be the browser again. Okay, so if I create a new host, I see this tab here, Ansible roles, which contains the roles that are available in the Foreman server. And after I create it, I don't want to create a new one, but let's use this VM as an example. Let's say that I want to add, I don't know, the MySQL and the Subversion roles. I just click and submit, and any host that has Ansible roles associated with it will have this button here. If I click on the button, it will start running Ansible, and it will start running. It will start applying those roles to the host. So okay, so it's running in the background. It doesn't give you any output here. You can see it in the log if you want to, but in any case, it doesn't really matter that much because at the end of the when Ansible finishes the run, it will submit a report to Foreman, like the same. It's basically the same mechanism as Puppet. So it will submit a report, and we'll see what went wrong and what went right. Anyway, and also if you have multiple hosts, you can click there and click and play Ansible roles. And well, if there is no roles associated with the host, it will just skip it. And if there are some roles associated with the host, it will run Ansible with those to apply those roles. Okay, right. So we'll be seeing some reports for the hosts that have Ansible roles. And it's a simple feature, I think, but it was apparently a blocker for someone on Redmine, so I started to code it up. I think probably today I can have it merged, and hopefully today we can fully release it. There are some docs also, a PR with docs and packaging already, so it shouldn't take long to finish this up. Any questions about this?
Yeah, we just had one, and I'm pretty sure I already know the answer, but since it was asked, I will answer it. The person was just commenting that that your hosts don't have the Puppet classes tab; they just have the Ansible tab. But these things are not mutually exclusive, right? It's simply a configuration thing. You don't have any Puppet stuff, so it doesn't have.
No, they're not mutually exclusive. Sorry, it's yeah. Normally you would have them both. It's just that I'm working on a Foreman version that has this experimental feature that I was working on that basically allows you to hide all of the Puppet related stuff.
Right, exactly. I knew that.
So I just
yeah, I just wanted to clarify that for the people
okay,
watching,
and now
because we had a question about it.
Okay, yeah. So as you can see, all the Puppet stuff is back.
Yeah. So for the context there, moving Puppet to a plugin is something that's been on the roadmap for quite a while, because everything else, all the other configuration management tools are a plugin, right? So so there's really no reason Puppet shouldn't be either. And it helps to make sure that our support for any type of configuration management is robust, because everything's got to play through the same interfaces. So that's a tool that's a piece of work that's been slowly ongoing for a while, and you're just seeing, for the person that was asking that question, you're just seeing Daniel basically playing around with that and hiding the Puppet stuff. So,
right, it's just hiding it.
Yeah. But it's by no means mutually exclusive. I think in general we can say that for most of the configuration management stuff, right? You could run Puppet and Salt side by side if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I can't quite imagine why you'd do that, but I don't know. Maybe you're migrating from one to the other. So yeah, it's fine. Cool. Well, apart from that, I don't see any other questions. I do think that is very cool. I think it's a good addition, certainly, because it's the sort of thing. It's close to an ENC-like behavior, right? Because that's
kind of.
It's I mean, Ansible works a different way to Puppet, but I know it's something we've been working towards in different plugins, right? Because we can do the top state stuff with Salt. We do have a kind of ENC thing in Chef now, and I've got the role support in Ansible. So we're getting this kind of feature parity across all of the various tools that we support, which is very, very cool.
Yeah. So apparently it was important to this person, and there was somebody on IRC yesterday that was also interested in it. So hopefully it's something that people will start using and hopefully contributing. I have like a small list of things that I want to do with it. Like roles are kind of similar to host groups, so it could possibly be interesting to create host groups based on roles. Also, right now you can only apply roles here at the host level, but I think it would be very useful to do this at the host group level, so you don't have to specify the roles per host. And also, this is running from Foreman itself, not from the proxy, just because it was simpler to do. So I want to extract that to a gem and make it available in the proxy and in Foreman, and only if you need the proxy, you install the proxy. Otherwise, you can deal with just Foreman. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah, I would say the thing that leapt to my mind was the config groups rather than host groups. Right, roles and config groups are very similar, and that's important because you've already shown how a host can have multiple roles, and you can only have one host group, whereas you can have multiple config groups. So.
Okay, yeah.
It seems like maybe some form of in the same way that we can import classes to a classes tab, it might make sense to import roles to config groups.
But a host group can have multiple config groups.
Yes, it
doesn't
can.
It?
Yes, it can.
Right.
I mean, it's all a bit kind of similar, because where do you draw the line, right? If you can have multiple classes or playbooks on a host group, then do you need roles? But then if you're applying the roles some other way, then the roles make sense, and maybe you want to import those into the UI. It's all very flexible, right? It's all quite vague in places. Anyway, it is a cool addition to the plugin, without any doubt. So I think that's all we have for today. I will risk one last screen share. Just to show my closing slide. Thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks to everyone for contributing questions, such as they were. As ever, you can follow this up. I'll kill it now. I'll stop screen sharing, just in case. So do take care, everyone. If you enjoyed this, then you can like us on the YouTube channel. You can +1 the video. You can subscribe for future updates. You can follow us on Twitter, Foreman Project. You can join us, obviously, on the mailing list and on IRC. In the meantime, this has been a great community demo. Thanks to all the presenters, and I will see you next time. Do take care.